Hello and welcome to the Scratch Stereo workflow demonstration. In this video, we'll take a look at how to set up a stereo construct, adjust shot framing and stereo properties such as convergence, and manage multiple versions of stereo shots. A stereo project starts out in much the same way as any other project in Scratch, by loading all of your source material into a construct and then using EDLs to create separate timelines for the left and right eye. Once I've conformed up these separate timelines, what I can do is combine them into a single construct. To do this, I'm going to select all of the elements in my right eye conform, pick those up, and bring them over into my left eye conform and drop them on top. So now I have a left and right eye version of every shot in my construct. To start working on the individual shots, I'm going to take this construct into the player. And now inside the player, I'm going to activate the dual view mode. Previously, we'd used dual view to compare one shot to another while we were color grading. In this case, what I'm doing is actually outputting my left eye material off of one SDI output and my right eye material off of the second SDI output of the system. I can take those two SDI outputs and feed them to a variety of different stereo monitoring solutions and play this back in real time directly out of Scratch. A typical stereo shoot has one camera shooting off of a mirror, which results in one image being reversed. We can see this here in our left eye image. To compensate for that, I'm going to use the source orientation tool inside Scratch. This allows me to flip this image around so that I can compensate for that mirror. Now I'm going to want to apply that orientation change to every shot in the timeline. So I'll copy that, come back to the first shot in the timeline, and paste down that change to every shot in the timeline. Now I can see that all of the shots have been properly oriented. Because this project is set as a stereo project, I have the stereo link option in the shot framing controls. This allows me to lock the left and right eye together so that any framing changes I make are applied to both eyes at the same time, ensuring that the proper stereo is always maintained. Working in stereo has a few specific framing adjustments that you'll want to have access to as well. The most common of these is called convergence. Convergence allows us to control the overall depth positioning within a frame. If I activate this in my shot framing controls, you can see that moving the X value on one shot moves the other shot in the opposite direction. This will adjust the overall position of an image relative to the plane of the screen. One of the best ways to see this, however, is to go from our dual view to an AB view, which actually half mixes the two images together. Now I can clearly see the offset between the two images. Anywhere that the images align means that portion of the frame will be at the plane of the screen. I can also use all of the same versioning tools within Scratch that I would use in a normal 2D project. However, when I create new versions in this case, it automatically will create a left and right eye version for me. In this case, I can use this alternate version to change the convergence so I could evaluate two different versions of this shot instantaneously in stereo, simply by switching between the two versions. By default, when we set up a stereo project, we create two separate output nodes, one for the left eye and one for the right eye. And we can use all of the same tools that we would use in a 2D project on each of these nodes. So to review, we were able to conform up a left and a right eye construct, combine those together into a single construct, be able to work with those in stereo to adjust shot framing, convergence, and versioning, and then be able to render out both left and right eye versions of this construct. So working in stereo in Scratch is very similar to working in 2D. You're just managing your left and right eye material at the same time and able to view it in stereo in real time.